Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. I'm back again with Hank. You can see it on the screen there. That's Hank Unfiltered. That's his YouTube channel there. He is 34 subscribers deep. Oh, that's a special time, my friend. He has some videos up. And you got another one releasing when? 6 p.m. today?
Yes, it will be releasing at the same time as this video going out too. So make sure to go check it out on Hank Unfiltered.
You want to go to war with my video? Is that what you're saying there?
There's no war over here. I'm just saying when they're done watching this video over here, please go check out my channel, Hank Unfiltered.
Hold on a second. I didn't realize that's what was happening. Never mind, guy. Let's get this off the screen real quick. No, Hank Unfiltered. Great content. He's working on it. He's getting better and better and better with time. And I can't wait to see when you're at 1,000, 10,000, all those great numbers of subscribers. Link in the description. Are you putting that link in the description?
Yeah, you're going to find it in the description. Okay. And it should be right there on the screen as well. You can see it's Hank Unfiltered. And if you have trouble finding it, just put that little @ symbol in front of the Hank Unfiltered and it will come right up.
There you go. There you go. And then when you see the guy who looks like a prettier Jason Statham on the screen, then you'll know exactly that you've hit the right channel there. I like your thumbnails, by the way.
Thank you. They're going to keep getting better. This next thumbnail, I think you'll appreciate it. I think everyone will. Hope to see you over there.
Okay, good, good. But what we're going to talk about today, I was just looking at the video because I didn't get a chance. You sent me a lot of stuff about the Germany attack. We're going to be talking about that near the end of the episode, but from what I just saw, completely crazy type of attack that just went down. Again, we're going to touch on that soon. We're going to touch a little bit on what's going on here with the J6. I think that's what I have up here. I just want to make sure. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, this should be about the J6ers here. So we're going to talk a little bit about J6. We're going to talk a little bit about, well, the conspiracy. That's no longer a conspiracy because that's how conspiracies work nowadays, which I really like. Back in the day, you've known me for a long time. Back 15 years ago, a conspiracy stayed a conspiracy for years and years and years. Now it's like 3 months, 6 months, you know, and then all of a sudden it becomes true. Just funny the way that works nowadays. I love it.
Yeah. The difference between fact and fiction now is about 6 months. That's it.
Yeah, that's what they say. So we're going to be talking about the J6 thing. That's what we're going to get into right now. Then Trump's press conference, because there's a bunch of things that he talked about there. He is already the president. He's already making America great again. It's amazing to see. And I like the way he bosses this bank CEO. He like bosses this guy in an incredible way for $200 billion, like only Trump can do. But we'll talk about that after. And then we're going to talk a little bit about RFK on Capitol Hill, because a lot of Trump's cabinet is being, oh, we don't know if this person's qualified. John Bolton comes with his wild mustache. And he's like, oh, this person's not qualified for this. Kash Patel. Every single person who Trump has brought up in terms of cabinet picks, John Bolton comes up and he's like, oh, this person, you can't confirm this person. It's been absolutely ridiculous. But RFK is being received very, very, very well, which I'm very, very happy about. So yeah, let's just kick it off. How are you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, let's get into it over here. But RFK for the win. But John Bolton, how is that guy even still relevant? I mean, he wasn't relevant even when Trump had him in office. You know, like that guy was a mess.
It's so telling when it comes to the mainstream media who they decide to put in front. You know, like every now and then they'll just dig up Hillary Clinton. They put her in front of the thing and she's like, oh, people need to be re-educated and Trump's a liar and this and that. And it's like, why are they talking to her? To me, when I see that on mainstream media, it's confirming more and more that it's just pretty much a propaganda arm of whatever deep state players are in the background. That's how I see it. It's like, because what business does John Bolton have coming on?
Anything to just push a talking point. That's all it is right now. They know they can get Bolton on to do that, and that's why they're bringing him on. But he's an idiot.
100%, because it's so odd. Who in the newsroom was like, we need to hear what John Bolton has to say about this? Like in this day and age, wouldn't you think, you know, a normal person would be like, let's try and get Vivek. Let's try and get the vice president elect. Can we get Trump on the phone? Can we get the person who they're talking about, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. Like, can we get the people who are actually being focused on here? But instead they're like John Bolton and Hillary Clinton. It's like, what? It makes no sense.
Yeah, bringing on yesterday's news is it's just a waste of everybody's time. No one cares what Bolton thinks right now. No one cared back then either. So
yeah, that's a great way of putting it, actually. So let's get to this clip about the J6 actually having informants or human sources in the crowd, as they put it. Let's get into that.
Fox News alert, the Justice Department just released the bombshell report that we've been waiting for. What actually happened on January 6th? The FBI had 26 confidential human sources there that day. 26. A confidential human source is a guy the FBI pays to spy for them. Of the 26 confidential human sources who were in D.C. on Jan 6th, 4 entered the Capitol during the riot. An additional 13 entered the restricted area around the Capitol. So more than a dozen FBI spies participated in the so-called insurrection. A bunch of them broke into the Capitol. Their own inspector general says this is what happened. But that's not what they told you when they testified under oath.
Those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th, how many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
I thought I heard you say you didn't know whether there were FBI agents or informants or human sources in the Capitol or in the vicinity on January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
Well, I referred very specifically to undercover agents.
Yeah. And so are you acknowledging then there were undercover agents?
As I sit here right now, I do not believe there were undercover agents on scene.
The inspector was hiding something, so Congress asked the question a different way. Listen.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American people no? We did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol.
Gentleman's time has expired.
You should not read anything into my decision not to share information. Confidential human.
Gentleman's time.
Ray's right. The FBI didn't have undercover agents at January 6th. They had confidential human sources. So what's the difference? Well, a confidential human source doesn't get health insurance or a pension. They're just freelancing for the feds. Rats in MAGA hats. They're basically paid informants that the FBI runs out at headquarters. A lot of these FBI rats get picked up on some other charge. They get sat down and the FBI says, you're going to work for me now. And if you don't, you're looking at 20 years to life. So these guys say, yes, sir. And they cozy up to people like the Proud Boys and anyone the feds wants to watch and control from the inside. And these confidential human sources are under pressure to deliver. What does deliver mean? It means intelligence and big busts that get the FBI good headlines. According to the Inspector General report, the spies were feeding the FBI intel that said January 6th was going to get a little hairy. But FBI headquarters did nothing about it and then lied to Congress and said they did. So why did headquarters let January 6th get so out of hand? And what were all these FBI spies doing that day and the days before? Were they riling everyone up like they did in the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot? In that case, the FBI informants instigated the plot. They even used an FBI credit card to buy the ammo, supplies, and hotel rooms. Did the FBI pay for Jan 6 hotel rooms? We don't know. Remember, the media and the Democrats said this whole thing was a conspiracy.
Where do you think this idea comes from, that this was somehow done by the feds?
I heard that one of the debaters said it was an inside job. It's an inside job on the part of Donald Trump and his henchmen.
Republicans have blamed the FBI and said it was an inside job.
It certainly was not an inside job by FBI agents or Antifa. They go around blaming it on Antifa and FBI agents.
Well, how did the media know it wasn't an inside job when the FBI had 26 of their people on the inside? January 6th certainly benefited the media, the FBI and the Democrats. 1,500 arrests, humiliated Trump, got him impeached, criminalized the MAGA movement. Trump got indicted over January 6th, remember? They tried to throw him in prison over this. The January 6th committee, it's all Democrats did for 2 years. Why didn't the committee find any of these snitches? They did a one-sided investigation and teed up Garland to charge Trump so they could run against a convicted felon. So the media is going to apologize, right? No. The media today is cherry-picking the report to say there were no undercover agents there on January 6th. The whole thing's a conspiracy. These aren't articles. They're FBI press releases.
Beautiful way of putting that at the end. FBI press releases. That's exactly what this is. You know, again, for anybody who wants to watch the rest of the clip, there's like another 3 minutes. I repost everything on my X channel, so you can go there and see it. But just speaking to everything we just heard, what do you think right now? Oh, man.
This is really something, huh? They continue to lie, deceit the American people, and quite honestly speaking, I think the Americans have had enough of it.
Yeah, it's wild because I've been covering this for a while. I think I did a few videos about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, where I was covering everything because Tucker Carlson actually had an interview with Stephen Sund. He was the captain of the Capitol Police. He was the Capitol Police chief, basically. And he was there. He was the one that was requesting for the National Guard to come in. He was the one that was trying to get on the phone with Nancy Pelosi. He was talking to people who were below her. They refused to give him the National Guard. They said it was bad for optics. The whole time he's trying to get a hold of the National Guard, you have video filmed by Nancy Pelosi's daughter. She's filming her mom, Nancy Pelosi, and Stephen A. Sund is trying to get this done at about 1 o'clock all the way to 6 o'clock. Nancy Pelosi is seen on video 2 o'clock asking, what can we do? What can we do? I can't believe this is happening. It was this huge stall job because they didn't want the Capitol Police to they didn't want the National Guard to step in because they would have stopped the insurrection going on the whole time. And also the National Guard would have hurt at least one of those 26 human sources, whatever they want to call them, that would have been in the crowd. It was a very dirty job that they did. And I'm so glad it's getting exposed right now because I've been talking about this for a while. This and you know, before all that, Trump actually went to Nancy. He said to her, hey, I can give you 1,000, 10,000 National Guard, you know, things probably you're going to pick up there, you know, like, you know, I can help. And she's like, no, I don't need that. So it was
a setup.
Yeah, exactly. She said no. Then when it showed that they were needed, she acted like she couldn't, like, oh, I don't know what's going on. This is Trump's fault. This is Trump's fault. This whole thing was just so dirty. And then you have people like, again, I've talked about him before, Nick Fuentes telling everybody to go inside the Capitol. He doesn't get arrested. Alex Jones is telling people not to go inside because he's saying it's a setup, it's a trap, you know, and there's many people, Ray Epps being one of them. We got to go inside the Capitol. We have to go inside. Doing that whole thing, just wild to see how this is unfolding. And of course, no one's gonna apologize. No one's gonna budge from what they're saying. These little articles that you see on the screen right now are just semantics because they're just saying no undercover agents, I guess. But, you know, informants and human sources, whatever you want to call them, they act as agents, you know? They're doing pretty much the same thing. They're providing intel. They're taking in everything that's going on. They're doing things that may be unmentionable in regards to like what they're allowed to be seen doing. They're doing the exact same job, you know. So to say that there was no agents there is just ridiculous. Wild to see this happen.
Let's get real though. There was not just agents. There were bad actors there intentionally trying to incite violence, among other things.
Yeah.
All right. This was without a doubt a setup because President Trump offered Nancy the National Guard, like you indicated before. On what grounds, if she had any concerns at all, would she deny it? It doesn't make sense to deny that kind of support. If you have concerns about your safety, especially when you know there's going to be a massive turnout for it, how can you completely disregard that and then point finger at President Trump and say it's his fault? You did it to yourself.
It's very interesting to see how the media and I guess people who run with her, the Democrats, are kind of just skipping the chain of command. So Trump offered it because he was just like, he's a straight up guy. Let's go and talk to the person who may need this. I'm going to offer this. But the chain of command goes her. She's the one where that stops. It doesn't go to Trump. Like everybody's like, oh, why didn't Trump tell them to stop this, that? He even said in a Meet the Press interview, he said, I thought she had it under control. When she said she didn't want the guards, I thought she had it under control. She's the one that's supposed to be controlling things. And then you have Stephen A. Sun saying, I'm trying to get in contact with her or whoever's under her so I can actually have access to the guard. So Trump gets denied in terms of, hey, you want the guard there? And then Stephen A. Sun gets denied the guard. And there's just these three people in the middle, one of them being Nancy Pelosi, that have control over that instance, and they're completely stopping it because of what they said were optics. This is Stephen A. Sun's testimony saying they said no to me because of optics. Then someone got shot. Then they were able to see what's going on TV. Then it took another few hours, and he said, guys, you have to send the National Guard. They said no even still. They finally said yes. And Stephen A. Sun said, he's like, I can see the National Guard. He's like, from where we are, there was a bunch of them stationed. They went away, and he had to wait for the afternoon shift, the evening shift of National Guard to come in, and then they came in. So they had people that were about, a few hundred meters away, National Guard, that could have came in. They sent those guys away, waited for other guys to come, and then those guys came in after everything died down. So they got their full press opportunities. They got all their snapshots. They got everything they needed. And then the guard came. And also somebody died. So they got everything they needed.
This was an attempt to bury President Trump. They did the impeachments. They kept using the press to try to vilify him for years on end. And it wasn't working. And this was their Hail Mary. They thought they put him away for good with the whole January 6th. But you know what? He's far more resilient than that. And he came back bigger and better than ever. So
yeah,
good on him. But the American people deserve more answers. And they're going to get them, I think, because we have a new administration coming in and they're demanding accountability, and rightfully so. And I think that that committee that was formed, if you want to even call it that, it was a complete farce. I think that they have to be held accountable too, because they buried information. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, now we have Kash Patel. If Kash Patel comes in, he seems like he's very into transparency. He seems like he wants to out everything, especially things that are geared towards smearing President Trump. So we might just have those answers that you're talking about just because of him. He might actually be able to talk about who was involved, maybe not give them by name because that will compromise them, but the numbers, what they were doing there. This is stuff that he's going to know. And I think this is going to be information that he's going to divulge to the public. I mean, he has gone on record saying that there needs to be a declassifying, he didn't say channel, but there needs to be something where there's constant declassification going on and being told to the American public. Anything that is not going to, compromise national security should be declassified, brought to the public's attention. And I could not possibly see how this couldn't be one of those things.
Yeah, but that committee needs to be investigated.
Yeah. And I think he's going to do that. I think he's the one to do that type of thing.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm counting on it.
Yeah. I'm really excited about him. The more I see where he's been and where they want to put him and what's going on with that whole department or bureau or whatever, I get real excited for that guy. I can't wait. Trump's press conference had this big press conference. He's talking about suing a pollster. I mean, what's her name? Let me see up here. Ann Seltzer, for allegedly rigging her Iowa poll to influence the 2024 election. This is the president, ladies and gentlemen, saying this is what he plans to do with this lady. Let me play this clip for you.
I'm going to be bringing one against the people in Iowa, their newspaper, which had a very, very good pollster who got me right all the time. And then just before the election, she said I was going to lose by 3 or 4 points. And it became the biggest story all over the world because I was going to win Iowa by 20 points. The farmers loved me and I loved the farmers. And it was interesting the way she did it. She brought it down 2 weeks before. She said I was going to only win by 4. That was a big story. But that was good because she brought it down from like 22 points to 4 or whatever the number was. Way up. An easy win. Never even thought to go there. I respect them. I love them. And they understand there's no reason to go there because she brought it from way up, walk away, which it was. And it turned out to be in the election too, by the way. It was a win by many, many points. And then she brought it down very smartly to 4 a couple of weeks before. And everyone said, wow, that's amazing. He's only up by 4 points. Then she brought it down to where it was down by 3 or 4, whatever number she used. And that was the Des Moines Register. And it was their parent. And in my opinion, it was fraud and it was election interference. You know, she's gotten me right always. She's a very good pollster. She knows what she was doing. And she then quit before. And we'll probably be filing a major lawsuit against them today or tomorrow. We're filing one on 60 Minutes, you know about that, where they took Kamala's answer, which was a crazy answer, a horrible answer, and they took the whole answer out and they replaced it with something else she said later on.
This is crazy. Listen, that 60 Minutes part that he's talking about, I didn't even know you could sue for that. I didn't know that was a thing you could sue because they like edited and manipulated what she said. Very interesting stuff. President Trump has come forward on Joe Rogan's podcast. He said he doesn't believe in the pollsters, especially with what he was seeing during the election. He said, I don't know. He's like, it seems like they get paid. And he's like, I don't even know if they even ask anybody anything. He's like, I think they just put their numbers out. He's like, I think they get paid a bunch of money and then they just put their numbers out. He actually called it BS while he was sitting with Joe.
Well, the problem with these polls is confirmation bias, right? I mean, these are highly leftist individuals and you know they want Harris to win. So not only are they going to try to manipulate the polls, they're going to try to find, they're going to go around trying to find a poll that's going to kind of paint the image and push America in the direction that they're going to want to go in. And you can see it with lots of pollsters to begin with, but the problem I think is with polling in general. They got to start trying to find pollsters that really can kind of paint a broader image of what America is. And I think right now with what's going on in the mainstream, how President Trump is becoming a cultural icon in a meaningful way, a way that was not really present in 2016. I think that it sets the stage for possibly better polls to come out going forward. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, you know what? It's we're getting to a point with not just polls, but media in general, where you can do really well by just being honest. You know, that's part of the reason why on this channel, if I'm talking about Trump or if I'm talking about Biden or something, I'll be like wearing a Trump shirt and I'll be like, hey, you guys know I'm biased. Like I admit my biases all the time. So people know exactly who they're getting information from. I try to be balanced, but I let them know I'm biased. You know, I don't want to see Kamala. I don't want to see Biden. I want to see Trump win. Like, I'm very open about it. And if you can just be honest, you're going to do really well. And especially, with what we're talking about in polling, if you just make an honest poll and just be very honest about who you asked, how many people, what it actually says, you'll do fine. It just seems like all of these like you said, left-leaning people who are running these things, they have too much of a bias, even to the point where in one of the episodes I did, I was looking into a poll because I was just talking about polls and like what they actually mean. Joe Rogan was talking about it. So I was like, let's go deeper in the polls. So MSNBC was talking about this poll and I was like, let's look into this poll. Who owns it? Like, how does it work? So I look to see who the editor-in-chief is. And it's this lady. I forget what her name was. I think her name was April something. I look into her. I Google her name. She's a correspondent on MSNBC. she's a contributor. So she's always on MSNBC. I'm like, what are we looking at here? Like this, I can't say the poll company is owned by MSNBC, but it definitely is ideologically owned by MSNBC in that sense. The person has a incentive to report these polls that are putting Kamala ahead because not only does it help them because that's what they want, but also it kind of gets her position to be on the show and talking about things from time to time. If she went all the way towards Trump, they'd be like, forget this poll and forget her being on the show at all, being on the network at all. So it was just that was just one that I found, and I was like, this is crazy. I'm like, right from there, I was like, I can't trust polls. Like, how do I trust it at that point? Just knowing that.
Well, I would tell most people not to trust the polls because they've been proven time and time again that they've been wrong. But like you were saying, I mean, if the pollsters themselves have serious bias, even if they unwillingly or they're not trying to purposely sway them, I mean, that confirmation bias thing, it's a real thing. And you're going to find it in all sorts of research purposes. But what is a bigger concern to me is that 60 Minutes interview right there. I mean, that right there, that is just straight up election interference. And I really hope the President Trump goes after them there. The American people deserve to know the truth when 60 Minutes is supposedly unbiased going out there and doing a major interview with a presidential candidate, and they're purposely manipulating it. That's altered content at that point. When one of the things they should be doing is if they're going to alter the content, at the very least, there should be some sort of banner that goes up there and says, we have altered this content in some way, and put that forth to the public. At least then that way there'd be some disclosure there. But right now there's nothing.
YouTube asks us that every single episode. It says, is there any altered content in here? And we have to answer honestly, or else there's consequences for that. You know what I mean? So, which is funny because they posted that on YouTube and they obviously got the same kind of thing they had to answer. So they're answering no. In reality, it was yes. Like, where's the consequences for them? But also, just in regards to that 60 Minutes interview, I actually tried. I think I told you, I tried to make a video about that interview. And it was a great video, but 60 Minutes was like, we want you to not use certain parts of this video. And I was like, okay, which parts? And they're like, every part where Kamala's talking. I'm like, wow, okay. So no video, I guess. They're like, yeah, no video. So they did that to me, which was fun to see. But yeah, it was very interesting. I just made fun of her. I made fun of her a whole lot. It's it's nothing that people don't know that I already do all the time, right? So it's okay.
It's all in good taste. Yeah, she's easy to make fun of,
Very, very easy. I was actually saying in another video, I was talking about her and Barack Obama might be off somewhere making butter chicken together because, for all we know, Obama's could be Indian for all we know. We don't even know with this guy anymore. I was that episode where I was talking about the alleged seemingly odd connections to the corrupt individuals that he had in Chicago. And I was like, this seems odd. Like, this guy just seems not on the up and up. I'll just say that.
Yeah, Dinesh D'Souza actually made a pretty good video about Obama. It covered it quite thoroughly. I forgot what the video was called, but it was I think it was in 2015 or 2016, and it's quite possible Obama has roots there.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into this next one. The gentleman you see on the screen, quite small compared to Trump. Very small. I did not notice that before. He is the CEO of SoftBank, and he is very interested in investing in America to help the economy. Listen to this.
To go, and we were discussing, and President Trump said, Masa, double that is not enough. Maybe, go for more, right?
That's all right. I'm going to ask him right now. Would you make it $200 billion? They said to me. He can believe it or not, he can actually afford to do that. Would you do that?
Well, my promise is 100, but he's now asking to do more. I think with your leadership, my partnership with you, with your support, I will try to make it happen.
That's good.
All right,
200. He'll make it happen. 200 million investment.
He is a great negotiator.
He's a brilliant guy and done an unbelievable job. And the people of Japan and all over the world are very proud of him. They have tremendous respect for him. So what he does, what he just did, and I would be surprised if it didn't go to 2. When you say you'll try, I know you'll do it.
I will really try. And I need your support, though. You'll have my support. All right.
You have our country's support.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you, Master. Very much
Fantastic.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank
Do
you.
you want to
Great.
say hello to the people of Japan who are all
What a just grab the guy by the neck near the end. You see that? Bring him in. Get over here. Get over here, little guy. Give me $200 billion. I'm not playing around here.
That was a sight to see right there. I mean, that's leadership right there. He's saying, with your leadership, we can get it done. That's what President Trump inspires confidence with business leaders all over the world. And what you're seeing is right there and why people love him. He's just so real. He's so natural. How can you not love this guy?
Man, it's interesting to see. For those that don't know, the investment is $100 billion into the American economy. SoftBank. And right away, Trump's just like, how about 200 billion? And I bet it goes to 200 billion, because right now you got to think this is what he's doing in front of cameras. When they actually sit down and he says, how about that try for 200 billion? I think at minimum, we're probably going to see it hit like 150 billion, something like that. But it's just funny to just see how he out of nowhere was like, you know what? How about 200 billion in front of the whole nation here? You're in Mar-a-Lago, you're my guest. How about you give me another $100 billion on top of that for America? Let's go.
But you know what? What's so great about this too is we're looking at the numbers, but these numbers are going to create jobs. I think they said something about like 100,000 jobs.
Yes.
Yes. And that number could double if he actually gets to those levels. That is a meaningful difference for American people. And right there, how can you not love this guy? I know I said it before, but he just inspires confidence in leadership like no other. And you're not seeing this from President Biden. You're not going to ever see this from Kamala Harris. This is why you need strong leadership in the White House, and you need people who have a good business mind, important, essentially to negotiate and to actually inspire the rest of the world to want to come to America and invest. And that's what's happening here.
Yeah, where on the Biden side of things, they have scared away hundreds of very, very rich investors in New York alone, just with what they did in terms of the real estate case with Mar-a-Lago and everything, what they did to Trump. So many people probably just hightailed it out of there. I mean, Kevin O'Leary was one of them. He's like, I can't do business in New York anymore. He's like, if this is how people are going to be treated, if this is what you're going to do at the drop of a hat, and hand out these fines for 9 figures. He's like, there's just no point in trying to do business here. So many people are starting to leave, but under Trump's leadership, people are going to start flocking to America. And honestly, I think we talked about a little bit with Sachs becoming the head of like cryptocurrency. I forget what name they actually gave him, but this guy is going to make it so America heavily invests in Bitcoin and other cryptos. Like it's just incredible. What we're going to see is just wild what we're going to see in terms of growth.
Yeah, well, we've been seeing it also. I mean, Elon Musk moved everything over to Texas, right? I mean, these leftist policies, it sounds good in some ways for the people that, maybe need to be let up a little bit, lifted up per se. But when it crushes business and innovation, it's hurting everyone there, even the little guy.
Yeah. People don't realize, a lot of the things that the Biden-Harris, it's funny how they so depended on black people, but so many things black people and the working class, Hispanics as well, regular working class white people, they needed those people so much, but everything they did damaged them tremendously. And it's just funny the way that works, whereas Trump, I wouldn't say Trump doesn't need those people, but he made a very big effort to do things for those people, like way more than you would think. Like the Democrats have, quote unquote own, they call it the Democrat plantation. They have owned the black vote and people of minorities for a long time. So you think that they would be the ones to say, we are going to placate those people the most, like more than anyone's ever seen. And somehow it was Trump instead doing that. So I don't know. I just find that very interesting.
Well, it comes down to the fundamental differences between socialism and capitalism, right? Socialistic policies are just going to destroy your economy one way or another. They sound good, they have nice buzzwords, but it's going to lead to corruption, a government that just gets way too large, and eventually it hurts the people and the little guy and the middle class and the lower class, and right here, when you see capitalistic ideologies, moving forward, it brings about business investments from all over the world. And that's what we saw over here. And I'm excited to see more of this to come. I mean, this is just the start. I mean, he's not even in office yet, right? I mean, he's already the president and he's not even in office yet. I mean, let's just think about that for a second.
Where is Joe Biden? Where is he right now? It's like Trump gave him a call and just said, buddy, like, I know you're in a bad way. Just take a rest. I'm going to handle things. You can take credit for whatever growth comes between now and January 20th. Just let me handle things. And Joe just was like, fine. No problem. Because where is he?
I don't even think Joe knows where he is right now. I'm just putting that out there. So,
there was something that came out where, Kamala Harris was rushed to the White House for some unknown reason. And also Joe Biden had a trip that he was supposed to have for a few days or a week or something like that. And that was canceled. I don't know what that means. Obviously, with the condition of Joe Biden, people assume the worst, which the worst is Kamala Harris having to assume the presidency, even just for a month, is just no good. But yeah, people are speculating a bunch of things of what could have happened to Joe or what kind of problems there could be looming. I don't know.
I mean, people have kind of put out there that maybe Joe Biden has a body double. I mean,
buddy.
He's conveniently going to the Vatican right now to go see the Pope. So, I mean, I'm just saying, without saying it, but I'm just saying,
Do you know what channel you're on right now, buddy? Buddy, listen, I can't say there is a body double. I can say this, though. Sometimes he's extra tall, and I don't know why. I don't know why he's extra tall out of nowhere. Okay, sometimes the earlobes touch, sometimes they don't. It's very odd the way that this guy operates. Okay, and if you look at a picture of him just from the year 2018 to now, who is it? Who is he? I don't know who he. Joe Biden. Okay, all right, YouTube. I'm not saying anything. No misinformation here. All I'm saying is has a lot of different faces. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And sometimes he's 6'5". Sometimes he's 6'1". I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah, it's very interesting what's said about that whole thing. And here's the thing. As much as I'm talking about I'm in tinfoil Speedo territory here, presidents have body doubles. That would be a given just for protection purposes. I mean, they talk about they talk about Putin having a couple of body doubles because of his life getting attempted all the time. President Xi or Emperor Xi, whatever he calls himself in China, him having them. I would think any high level politician, president, king, whatever you want to call it, you would think they would have at least one body double. They need it for certain times.
I mean, yeah, it's just good security having a body double. So what we're saying here is kind of, it sounds like it's accurate. It's because it likely is true. And that's why many people have been saying it. But I think rushing him over to the Vatican is kind of a convenient time to do it right now, especially with the news of him having to rush over to the White House, or I guess Kamala Harris having to rush over there.
So he had a trip to the Vatican, you're saying?
Well, he has a trip coming up right now, it seems like.
Really?
Yeah. He's going to go meet with the Pope.
Wow. That's interesting.
He's a very devout Catholic.
Okay. He's trying to repent those sins. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, with the sins I've committed, I cannot do this in my bedroom. I have to go straight to the Pope and he has to touch me on the forehead. That's the only way I cleanse myself of everything I've done the past 4 years.
He's asking for forgiveness, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get it from the American people, not after what he did.
No. He can only get that from the Pope. The Pope's very open nowadays anyway, so
yeah.
I'm sure he'll forgive him. Vatican's a beautiful place, though. I was just telling you, I want to go to the Vatican. I want to check it out. see if
I
I
think
can
you should.
Yeah, I want to find the bones of Jesus if it's there. I want to meet some lizard people, possibly, because if they're anywhere, they're in the Vatican, underground tunnels and stuff, So hopefully I get to go there eventually.
Get some pictures and put them on your podcast, all right?
You know what I want to do? I want to interview a tour guide who is like a tour guide of the Vatican. That's what I would like to do. And then present him with these silly questions that I have about any conspiracies. Because some of the stuff in the Vatican's really weird. Really weird. There's like a sculpture of Jesus bursting out of the ground. Like coming out of hell.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge too.
I gotta
It's
see that.
huge. Oh, it's gigantic. It's crazy looking. There's a room that looks like a snake head. It looks just like a serpent. Like there's odd stuff in there. It's beautiful. It's all beautiful, but it's weird. There's some weird stuff in there.
Well, I mean, it's artistic, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Art comes in all forms.
That's true. That's a good way of putting it. Let me play another clip here. Trump just talking some more at his press conference.
Administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar.
This is about the border wall, ladies and gentlemen. Trump is very mad about that. And I think what he says in this clip actually took effect because the Biden administration did something with the border wall after he made this statement.
Administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, knowing that we're getting ready to put it up. And what they're doing is really an act. It's almost a criminal act. They know we're going to use it, and if we don't have it, we're going to have to rebuild it, and it'll cost double what it cost years ago, and that's hundreds of millions of dollars because you're talking about a lot of wall. I built much more than I said I was going to build, but then after it was built, I said, we can do some more because it's sort of like water, people flow through, and that will pretty much really take care of it. And what happened is they just, as you see, they're trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar. And that's really, that has nothing to do with a smooth transition. That has to do with people really trying to stop our nation. And all it means really is that we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars more, not even talking about the time. Time would be pretty long, but we'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars more on building the same wall that we already have. And people have already come back to us that have deals at 5 cents and 4 cents, and one guy at 3 cents on the dollar, and they offered to sell it back to us at more money than it cost us to build substantially. Can you believe it? So they make a deal with the United States to buy it for pennies, and then they call us and they say, do you want to buy it back?
Wow.
We'll sell it back to you for hundreds of dollars a foot. Hundreds of dollars, from pennies to hundreds of dollars a foot. And we can't let this take place. Now we're going to go. I spoke with the Attorney General of Texas. I spoke to the senators of Texas. I spoke to a lot of people, and hopefully they'll be able to stop. We're going to be, having a restraining order. But just think about how ridiculous it is. And this is just people that don't want this country to succeed. And this has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. This has to do with common sense. We won on common sense, and this is maybe one of the most egregious examples I've seen. So the people that are buying it or trying to buy it are trying to make a deal with us to sell it back at hundreds of times more than we paid. And this is all because the Democrats. So I'm asking today Joe Biden to please stop selling the wall. We're going to use that to create a strong barrier. And it worked. That's why our numbers were so good. It really worked, and it worked well. And it's very expensive to do. And I'm asking Joe Biden to stop his people from giving it away. It's something that people can't even believe is happening. So hopefully Joe will be able to stop it. We'll soon unleash American energy, and this will be done at levels not seen. It's almost.
So that's what's going on there. So after he made this, a statement about possibly a restraining order, actually, they took all of the border wall that was up for auction down. So this has actually ceased it. So I don't know if somebody reached out in Trump's camp. I don't know what happened, but they heard these remarks and possibly, Trump took a step towards taking action in regards to that restraining order, and they actually took it all down. So good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, let's just get real here. Whoever did this needs to be held accountable. I would press charges against them. They're clearly wasting taxpayers' money. Like, it's not like the wall isn't going to get built. He's going to build it. And why would they go ahead and do that in the first place? There's only one reason. It's because they don't want borders. They want to undermine the incoming government and the will of the American people. I mean, look, Republicans have a mandate right now. When you win the House, the Senate, and the White House all together, you have been given a mandate. And anything that undermines that, there's got to be accountability. And I say that, and I don't just mean like, people's feet held to the fire. What I mean, charges. Okay.
Yeah.
It's got to be criminal at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. When you think about it, what they're actually doing, selling off the border wall. But it's one thing if they sold it off like at the beginning of his administration, because then you can make the argument they're like, oh, we want to do something else. And this, it would still look terrible, but there's arguments that you can make at that point. When it's just 30, 40 days before he takes office and plans to build this wall that he's been running on the whole time, and the American people have now voted this guy in, and now you're doing it, that again, I think somebody thinks it's a slap in the face to Trump, and they don't realize it's a slap in the face to the American people. Or they do. I don't know. It's so hard to tell now. It's like, do they just hate Trump? Do they hate the nation? Do they have a disdain for the American people? It's so hard to tell with the way that they act right now, the Democrats. It's weird.
The thing that really bothers me about this, though, is, okay, obviously Americans are going to have to pay more money for it. That sucks. It's not okay, especially when Americans trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. But they're aiding and abetting the cartels. Okay?
That's it.
And we need to talk about that over here. All right? That means more people are going to end up using drugs like fentanyl, and they're going to wind up dead. This is serious. And I get that, like, it's kind of like going back to your point. If they had done this at the beginning of the administration, it would have been distasteful. But I guess we could say, all right, fine. You know what? President Trump, is no longer in office. Okay, fine. Biden will do what he'll do. But when you have a mandate, and we know that the construction of that border wall is likely going to happen on day one, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Then you are sitting here and aiding and abetting the cartels. And with that being said, aren't you just part of the whole trafficking highway to begin with at that point? I mean,
well, like last episode, we covered the whole auctioning of the border wall, and then I had that clip that I showed you where they actually welded open certain parts of the border, and they're like, oh, it's for what was it, alpacas or emus or something like that, for some animal to get through because they're migrating. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? And why didn't this happen a year ago? Like, do they migrate once every 4 years? Or do they always just migrate right before Trump gets in office? Is that how it works? Like, I don't understand.
It's convenient.
Yeah, it's very, very convenient, man. It's just, I've said it 100 times on this show that whether it's the Democrats or it's their supporters, for some reason, all sympathy, all the human niceties go away when it comes to Trump. Whether it's the supporters or Trump himself, all the niceties go away, all the sympathy, all the human things that we extend to one another as fellow man go away. When they see one of us, they see Trump. When they see Trump, they see Hitler, they see the devil, and they just feel like they're allowed to do whatever they have to do.
Well, that's when democracy becomes compromised, right?
Yeah.
That, and I just want to say one thing too. Apparently, there's some reports that a number of Americans actually bought some of the construction material and are actually giving it back for free. So if you're one of them, thank you. All right, you are a true patriot, and we love you for it.
Yeah, that's true. I was talking about that, right? Because it's like you'd have to give it back. Like I was talking about buying it because it would be like such a historical thing to own, but like you'd have to offer it back, or not even pick it up and just be like, just leave it there and let them just use it, right? You'd have to do that, It's in this next clip, they're talking about Venezuela. Again, everything that I'm posting, everything you're seeing is on X. Everybody who is part of this compile of information, they're on X. So if you go there, you'll see everything that we're talking about right now. This is about Venezuela accepting accepting their gang members back and their prisoners. Here, check this out.
With in terms of your mass deportation plans, have you had any preliminary discussions with countries like Venezuela, from where the Tren de Aragua gang is now popping up?
They'll take them back.
They're going to take them back.
They're all taking them back. Yep. And if they don't, they'll be met very harshly economically. Okay. They'll all take them back. You know, Venezuela and other countries were not behaving very well with us during my administration. And within 24 hours, they were behaving very well. They'll all take them back.
And separately with...
Trump's not playing around with that. I can't wait to see what he actually does in order to enforce this. Maybe he just sends them back and he just says it's a one-way ticket. Here you go. You're in Venezuela. Goodbye. Or I don't know, but he's very, very serious about it. He's like, they're taking them back. They're taking them back. They're all taking them back.
Yeah, well, remember, these are, what is it, how do you enunciate that?
Tren de Agua or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
TDA.
I mean, look, they're going to apartment buildings, all right? And they're going collecting. And you know what? It's funny because, you know, that was another conspiracy theory and it turns out to be true yet again, all right? But these people have no business being in America. If you're going to come to America, come there, make the place a better country, all right? Assimilate, believe in law and order, do what you can to be part of the American dream. But if you're going to go there and try to tear it down for everybody, you got to get out of here. Trump's got to send them back. And it looks like that's what he's doing. I'm very happy to see that.
Assimilation, man. That's the best thing to bring up when it comes to this type of stuff. That's the key thing. You know, in the words of Hillary Clinton, if you're going to come here, you're going to learn the language and obey the law. Back in the day, that's what Hillary Clinton used to say. You're going to learn English. What? What? You don't hear anybody say that. Not even Trump says that.
No. She was a radical. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Back then, she wasn't playing around, you know, very interesting to hear. But, you know, you're 100% right. And they have taken over many apartment buildings. Aurora is one place where they did it. And that's where the conspiracy was, because the local government was denying it. They're like, no, these are just dilapidated places and this and that. They were making all these stories to cover it up. Then there was actual video footage of it, of these, I think it was like 6 guys knocking on a door. Somebody opens the door, they all burst in, and they kind of do like a ransom thing, kind of protection type of mob, racketeering type of thing. Like, you're going to give us money or this or that. They went from doing it to Americans to doing it to other migrants as well. And one woman got attacked because she said this, and the local government attacked her and smeared her and said she's racist and xenophobic and all these things. 2 of the people in the video got arrested. They were a part of the gang. The other 4 got away. So this lady does a video. She's like, I deserve an apology. Like, you guys said all this stuff about me. She's like, they were a part of a gang. That's exactly what I said. She's like, and when you catch the other 4, you're going to see that they're a part of this gang as well. It's very interesting.
Well, she should be suing them for both libel and slander. I mean, especially with the reports that came out this week. About 19 were detained for allegedly home invasions in these apartment buildings. Okay. You know, when you have Venezuelan gangs coming into America and legitimately they're committing home invasions. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And you have the media complicit in trying to cover it up. This is the problem here, folks. I mean, at what point did this become normal and acceptable? I mean, no one's trying to sit here and try to badmouth immigrants. We love immigrants. Immigrants are great. But when you have 19 people who are detained, who are coming from Venezuela to cause problems, you got to get them out of there. They have no business being in America.
It's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. And honestly, you know, even the ones, if you've misused the Asylum Act, you know, trying to get asylum, if you've misused it, you do have to go. I mean, as much as it pains people to hear, you do have to go. You can't just You can't just say that you're seeking asylum, or you can't just say that you want a job. Like, you're actually not allowed to do that. As much as it sounds heartless to a lot of people, you can't just do that. You can't just be like, there's more opportunity here, so I want to stay. And yes, I've broken a law by, just sneaking into your country, but I want to stay and I should be able to stay. You just can't do that. You just can't. So I hope Trump actually does get to send these people back. As you know, I've been covering it with Tucker Carlson and Tom Homan. They've been having a in-depth conversation about everything that Tom wants to do and that Trump has given him the green light to do. Again, after listening to that conversation, I've talked to you about it and how terrible I thought it was all going to look. But Tom Homan is actually very intelligent and he's handling this stuff very well. And he doesn't want to do it the way that it's kind of envisioned, of just people kind of martial law on the streets, militarized, coming in, pulling people out of homes. They don't really want to do it that way. They want to focus on criminals first. So those exact people that we're talking about that are invading apartment buildings and things like that, they want to focus on them first. But even more intelligent, they just want to go to the jails where these illegals are who have committed violent acts and just take them from there, nice and peacefully, no weapons, nobody hurt or anything. Cuff them, take them where they have to go. They go back. That's it. That's where they want to start. I think that's very reasonable. Very reasonable.
Yeah, I'm hoping he does a lot more than that. Like, let's think about this for 1 second, okay? For one, he's come out of retirement again for President Trump. All right. Yeah. That's how loyal he is as a patriot to his country and to his people. Okay. He has way too much experience dealing with this. And he'll tell you right here and now that President Trump had the most secure border in American history. All right. Now, what he wants to do, though, he's working with people like Mayor Eric Adams right now, which I find very, very, very nice. I want to see more bipartisanship. But what I really hope is that he goes to the next extreme. Okay. I'm hoping that, he goes to the jails and he gets rid of them. But for mayors that don't want to work with him and will not allow him into the jails, I am hoping he puts them in jail. Okay. When you're going to undermine the security and safety of the American people, you need to be held accountable. And that's what I want to see right there. And then you got to go rounding up all the other immigrants who are coming over and are causing all sorts of issues. Now, does that mean all immigrants are doing that? No, let's be real. I love Americans. I love immigrants, but we have to understand that when you come to America and you're doing so illegally, you best be on, you have to behave yourself. You can't get yourself wrapped up in illegal activity. If you're going to start doing that, the hammer's got to come down on you. And that's what Tom Homan's going to do.
Yeah, well, even if you don't, I mean, like, I can tell by the language they're using, there is a bit of a loophole. They are starting with the violent offenders. They are starting with the public threats, but like that's what Tom Homan has talked about. But then he's also talking about the people who have committed crimes. But Tom Homan has been very clear that if you've come into the country illegally, you've committed a crime.
Right.
So there is a little bit of a loophole there. Like, there's a bit of the language that he's using where he's like, just criminals, don't worry. And oh yeah, by the way, they're all criminals. Like, he is doing that. And that is smart. That is smart for those left-leaning mayors and governors who really don't like this whole thing. That is very smart. And as for the people who have stood up to him, they're all starting to back down. The mayor of Denver, who was standing up to him and said, we're going to have I said it in the last video, a Tiananmen Square moment. That's what he was talking about. He said he's going to get 50,000 volunteer citizens, which is crazy. You're basically talking about like Civil War territory there. And he was saying how he's going to get cops as well. And Tom Homan was like, well, you should look into this law because I'll put you in jail and I'll have the jurisdiction to do it. And then all of a sudden that same mayor came forward and he's like, I just don't want bad things to happen. He's like, if I could take that back, I would. Like, because he's a soft Justin Trudeau looking guy. So he was like, okay, this guy's serious. This is past virtue signaling. I don't want to go to jail. I just want my cushy job where I have all this money and all this power. I don't want to go through all that. So they're walking it back. As they realize that they're in the wrong, they're starting to walk it back. The only one, exactly. The only one that didn't is Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom, smartly says that he's going to be doing his resistance through state law, So there might be him actually signing some things executive order wise that could possibly impede what they're doing. But Tom Homan knows the law in and out when it comes to this thing. So I don't see any of that really stopping him, to be honest.
I was going to say, I don't think that's stopping ICE from going in there. They have a mandate, and it's the federal government we're talking about. Obviously, state laws do matter, and I respect that 100%. But I think Tom Homan knows exactly what to do and how to get it done.
Yeah. So the next is RFK. RFK hit Capitol Hill, completely ignored the media here. I don't even have to play sound on this one. They're just asking him what he's doing, blah, 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 and he's basically like, you guys have called me a conspiracy theorist and an anti-vax person forever. I'm not talking to you. I'm not saying anything to any of you. You've said the most terrible things about me. I'm not answering one question from not one person. So he just stayed on the straight and narrow. But a lot of people were happy to see him on Capitol Hill. What do I have here? Oh, this is him just getting
has just walked in, and he is walking through the mags right now and getting a security sweeping before he heads inside the Hart Senate office building to meet with Senator Rick Scott. Again, a lot of questions that Republicans have, some conservative Republicans about abortion states, and see a live look.
So that's just him heading in there. Again, let me just repost this. Just reposting everything as we go through it, just to make sure that's reposted already. That's reposted. This is actually Rick Scott talking about the whole thing.
A great meeting with Robert Kennedy. I really appreciate his message. As you know, I used to be in the hospital business. I think it's great to have an HH secretary that is going to focus on the health of America, which is the most important thing we ought to do. I think for all of us, what we're thinking about is how do we stay healthy every day? And finally, we're going to have an HH secretary that wakes up every day and says, how do we keep everybody healthy in this country? He's going to have a lot of opportunity to do that. I'm completely supportive of what he wants to accomplish, and I wish him the best of luck. A great meeting with.
So you can see there, that's a very positive, I guess, review of what went on with RFK between those two. I suspect most people had good interactions with RFK. The only place where I could see certain people getting held up is his stance on vaccines. But when you can actually be face to face to the guy and he's not being filtered through the mainstream media, he sounds very, very reasonable. I mean, he was on Joe Rogan, he's not as anti as everybody makes him out to be. So I suspect once people hear that he's not looking to just take them all away and everything like that, they're going to be way more on board for sure.
Well, there's a couple things I want to point out there. RFK is ignoring the media because he knows they're not going to do him any favors. Okay. He's run for president. He knows what they're like. He knows that he has an audience and he has to get confirmed, and it's not the media. That's one. For two, RFK wants to bring about major reforms when it comes to diet. Talking about things like just a basic ketogenic diet can help make major differences in someone's health. And he wants to put forth those studies and really investigate that. And a lot of the data is already there, but he wants to, put that out to the public. And that's the kind of reform America needs right now. I mean, we got to get back to being healthier, and I think he's going to do a great job at that.
Yeah. Trump gives a little bit of some words about RFK. Check out this.
First, on vaccine, do you want RFK Jr. to revoke any vaccine?
No, I want him to come back with a report as to what he thinks. We're going to find out a lot. We're doing two things. We're going to have tremendous cost savings will come out of this. That's a minimum. And we're also going to have, and I think, very serious discussions about certain things, whether it's pesticides. Europe doesn't use pesticides, and yet they have a better mortality rate than we do. They don't use pesticides. In fact, they use it as an excuse not to take our farm product. We spend billions and billions of dollars on pesticides, and something bad's happening. Again, you take a look at oil today versus 20, 25 years ago. It's like not even believable. So we're going to have reports. No, nothing's going to happen very quickly. I think you're going to find that Bobby he's a very rational guy. I found him to be very rational. No, nothing. You're not going to lose the polio vaccine. That's not going to happen. I saw what happened with the polio. I have friends that were very much affected by that. I have friends from many years ago, and they have obviously they're still in not such good shape because of it. And many people died. And the moment they took that vaccine, it ended. Dr. Jonas Salk did a great job. So I don't anticipate.
So that's Trump giving some words on RFK and what he plans to do, how reasonable he is. Trump has a huge belief in RFK. I mean, it's down to the point where, Trump wanted RFK to be his VP, right? Like, he actually asked RFK to be the vice president. And because he still had so much left in the campaign, he decided not to do it. But he could have been the vice president, which would have been incredible. Just saying.
One of the things that I look at when I see him getting confirmed in the near future, for the last number of years, we've heard the Democrats tell us, trust the science, trust the science. That was the talking point when they were pushing all the jabs, if you want to call it that. And what RFK wants to do is he wants to do the science. He wants to get the numbers. He wants to get the figures, and he wants to make sense of it all. And for some reason, the entire left is all in a frenzy about it, and they don't seem to want to trust the science anymore. And I think it's awfully convenient. And I would put that probably out there that, they're probably getting paid, getting kickbacks, all the advertisements and stuff.
It's very interesting the way that goes, because RFK, if you don't know, he actually has a very smart plan when it comes to all of this. His head of NIH is going to be doing certain studies and looking at the link between, say like diabetes and just, obesity, things like that. And they're going to be doing studies to confirm what they think. So they're going to develop enough proof, scientific, legit proof, not made up, not hunches, nothing like that. Gold standard science to prove certain things. And when they've proven it with the scientific proof, they're going to be able to actually turn to these companies that are using, let's say this corn syrup, just for an example, just throwing it out there. They're going to be able to turn to them and say, we have this much data that shows corn syrup does A, B, and C. You are somebody who is using this. Either stop or we're going to have grounds to sue you. And that's actually his plan. He's not just going to go radically and just go and change things. The way he explained it when he was sitting with Jordan Peterson was very smart. He was like, we're going to be doing a lot of things through executive order and then a lot of things through actual science. So what the mainstream media is trying to show is that he's just going to throw away everything. He's just going to pretty much go into this filing cabinet and just be like, all this stuff's gone. But that's not what his plan is. His plan is it's actually very pragmatic, very methodical, and very, very based in science. So, I mean, I heard him explain it. I was like, holy, I'm like, I had no idea that it was that thought out, because you got to remember, as much as RFK is seen as the health guy, he's also a legal guy at the same time. So he knows how to go about this in a certain way. So, everything you're hearing about him in the mainstream media is just, pretty much fake news. I mean, he's thought about this for a long time. He's literally talked about, he's thought about this for 19 years. This is not just a run-of-the-mill thing.
He's going to do his due diligence. He's not going to just, subjectively, change everything. He's going to get the right people to look into it. That's where it's starting. And you know what? There's already a lot of data out there that I think will already be available from day one.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's also there might be leads, give him some leads that he can also say, okay, you know what, let's take these leads. Let's just make sure that there's no confirmation bias here. And effectively speaking, really put forth something that we can prove straight causation. And if you can do that, then, I mean, look, he's a lawyer. He's not going to just mess around with all that. He knows what he's doing. He knows he has to prove causation, but I think that he will be successful in doing that. And I think it's going to help the American people. And you know what? Maybe even the world too, as well, along with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, well, when it comes to certain things, Europe's already way ahead, quite honestly. Russia doesn't even allow GMOs and stuff. But let's play this clip with Trump. I think they're talking a little bit more about RFK.
Robert Kennedy, he's on the Hill today. He's meeting with senators. What do you say to people who are worried that his views on will translate into policies that will make their kids less safe?
No, I think he's going to be much less radical than you would think. I think he's got a very open mind, or I wouldn't have put him there. He's going to be very much less radical. But there are problems. I mean, we don't do as well as a lot of other nations, and those nations use nothing. And we're going to find out what those problems are. And another thing that came up, the dinner was fascinating because I had Bobby and I had, again, the head of Pfizer. You know who that is. He's a highly respected man who has run an incredible company. Likewise with Lilly, the top two people. And we had the head of the industry also. So all companies were represented. And I said, let's have it out now a little bit. And you know what came out of that meeting is that we're paying far too much because we're paying much more than other countries. And we have laws that make it impossible to reduce. And we have a thing called the middleman. You know the middleman, right? The horrible middleman that makes more money, frankly, than the drug companies. And they don't do anything except they're a middleman. We're going to knock out the middleman. I'm going to be very unpopular after that statement.
Mr. President.
I don't know who these middlemen are, but they are rich as hell. And we're going to knock out the middlemen. We're going to get drug costs down at levels that nobody has ever seen before. And that really, I tell you, we spent more time talking about that with Bobby and with the executives and Oz, all of them. We spent more time talking about that than anything else.
You know, honestly, just in that conversation, you know, you can't have, you know, speaking to what the reporter asked, you can't have somebody who's too radical sit down with these pharmaceutical executives. It just wouldn't work, you know, and I think Trump's smart enough not to do that. So, and I've looked at Robert F. Kennedy for so long, studied so much of what he's talked about. You know, he's not all that radical. He's definitely not all that radical. You know, people think he's, you know, the media has made him into this maniac. Like literally, they've positioned him as someone who has a brain worm, and that worm is like affecting the way he thinks and what he talks about. And, you know, it's very interesting to see, but I think he's a very level-headed person when it comes to all of this. And honestly, I think he's so level-headed that there will be some people that will be disappointed. And I don't mean like he's not going to do the right thing, but they are expecting RFK to just push everything down and say, screw all this stuff. And that's just not his line of thinking. If you heard him on Joe Rogan, you know, anything that he was anti, it was for good reason. And it wasn't everything, for sure. You know, like I'm more radical than he is, definitely, when it comes to stuff.
They're just trying to vilify him. That's all they're doing. It's not working, though. People have woken up. If you look, so many people on the left have actually come over to the new Unity Party. And I think that right there, RFK is a big part of that. And if you look at, you know, look at the obesity epidemic in the United States. I mean, go look at pictures of men and women in the 1960s in the United States. I mean, the images from 1960s versus now, it's so drastically different. And, you know, you have to think about why. What's the, you know, the cause of it? And there's lots of different causes you can get into it, but you know, these pesticides, the diets, all these things, they're all playing a factor in there. And they don't want the truth be told. The people at the top, when they're getting kickbacks and, you know, from these drug companies, you know, they have no real incentive to help America get healthier because they're getting those kickbacks. And so is the mainstream media. I mean, whenever you watch the mainstream media, you always see commercials for drugs nonstop. It's there all day long. I mean, like they have no reason right there to say, hey, this drug is going to hurt you. Don't take it. No, they're going to try to peddle it. They're going to say, hey, take it. We need it. We're going to get paid. We're going to get kickbacks. Please take it.
It's a weird thing when it comes to, you know, the media, I guess, money, advertising dollars, what they're allowed to advertise, how they're allowed to advertise is a big thing. You know, a lot of native ads where it seems like you're listening to a news report, but then all of a sudden they start talking about something else.
RFK Jr. is going to be on Capitol.
They start talking about something else. It's very interesting the way they've been allowed to do this. I don't know how much of effect he's going to have in that way in terms of advertising dollars, but you're 100% right. You do have to look at what is making people so big. And you do have to think back to, you know, just even the high school testing. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the videos. There's videos of like high school testing back in like the 60s. And like every kid has a 6-pack. They're doing push-ups. They're able to do like these dip things where they're like walking with their hands and doing dips and climbing ropes and things that I cannot do. And I could not do when I was in high school. and they're just all doing it like it's just a standard. It's very weird. So it's like you have to do you do have to question what changed so much that, you know, it's like I don't know. It's interesting, you know.
Well, the drug companies got a lot bigger and a lot more powerful.
Well, not just that, the food. That's a big thing, because you can go a good stretch of your life without consuming any type of pharmaceutical. You cannot go a big part of your life without consuming food. And you can't be social without consuming fast food. You know what I mean? And it's like, how long are you going to be alive before you try like a soda, a Coca-Cola, a Pepsi, this, that, like all these things, like they're just kind of woven into our lives, and we don't actually know how bad they are. You know, like until RFK started talking about Fruit Loops and dyes and stuff, I wasn't looking for those. And then I looked at some drink that I won't name the drink, but there's a drink that I drink a lot to stay hydrated for electrolytes. And I look and I'm like, oh, geez, it has like 2 of them. I'm like, God. And then I had to like put it away, and I'm like, oh, I can't drink that anymore. How about that? You know, but also I'm blessed enough to not live in a food desert. And, you know, like I started my videography career working with doctors. So I learned a lot about health and diet and things of that nature. You know, I was just lucky enough to learn about that years ago. But most people don't know that. And that's what I mean by saying it's so woven into people's lives. They don't know what to even look for. You know, you look at a bunch of ingredients, there's 60 ingredients. You can't really pronounce them all. You don't really know what's bad and what's not. And the thing is, you consume it, and it's not like you keel over as soon as you consume these things. You feel great. It tastes fantastic. So you don't really know what to stay away from. And then it comes to what you're talking about in terms of the money, where somebody on the screen will look at you and say, yeah, that thing's great. Don't even worry about it. And you don't realize that certain companies have bought like, you know, 80% of all the advertising you see on TV. And it's wild. It's wild. I wish he had more of a hand in the money. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would be a good place to start, because the money tends to, what happens when there's money involved, to the extent that it is that the people who are on the screen, all of these talking heads, these news people, I say it all the time, they mold our reality. That's what they're really there for. They don't bring you the truth. They mold your reality. That's what the Rachel Maddows and the Joy Reids and all these Anderson Cooper, they're there to mold your reality. So if they just take, you know, whatever food and they say it's all good, well, that's part of your reality that gets molded and you don't even know. Right. So I don't know. It's a long conversation that, that I don't even know if we could have on here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful what you're saying over here. But I mean, like, look at something like some of these cereals. They have literally paint thinner in there. All right, trisodium phosphate. What is that doing in cereal? I mean, why are kids eating that?
Subway. You know, I'm not even gonna get into it. Yeah. All right, let's play this next clip. Just Google Subway yoga mats. All right, let's go.
Capitol Hill this week. He's talked about food safety. I know that's something that you have said you are interested in. He's also a skeptic. Senator, where are you on RFK Jr. and his potential confirmation?
Well, I think I look forward to sitting down and talking with him. Obviously, whether it's polio or COVID, have saved millions and millions of lives, and I strongly support vaccines. On the other hand, what I will tell you, and we had a hearing on this recently, is the food industry, through their processed foods, are helping to cause obesity in this country, cause diabetes in these countries. We have epidemics in our country in terms of diabetes and obesity. And I think we got to tell the food industry, stop making our kids overweight and causing all kinds of health problems.
Are you open to voting yes on RFK Jr., Senator?
The process, you know, there is a process. I'm going to sit down. I'll talk to him. We're going to have a hearing on it. And it's premature to say how I will vote, or I think how anybody should vote, unless you hear from the nominees.
All right. So not ruling it out.
You notice there's a bit of a punishment in what happened at the end of this clip. because she's like, are you ruling, like, are you saying yes or no? Like, she wants a definitive answer. And because she works with NBC, you know the answer that she wants. And him saying, well, you know, it's a little premature and everything. The ending of that clip where she goes, well, there you go, not ruling it out. That's a little bit of a public opinion punishment. Like, well, there's Bernie Sanders for you guys. He agrees with the maniac, just so you know. It's a little slight thing that they throw in there, but she made sure to do it, and they do it to people all the time.
I think he's going to vote for him.
I think he is too. I think he has no reason not to. Again, like I said, they're going to have the conversations they need to have about the things they're worried about. And when you hear RFK in interviews, he never seems unreasonable. He always has an answer. Anything that you disagree with him about, he has a good answer to why he feels that way, you know, and it's always worded so well. And then at the same time, you're Bernie Sanders. Yeah, you've been around for a long time, but you're sitting in front of a Kennedy. What are you going to do? You know, Charlie Kirk's going to post every name that voted against RFK Jr. Are you kidding me? You want to be on that list when Charlie Kirk throws those names up there? He's going to. 100%. He's already said he's going to do it with every Trump appointment.
You know, one thing that you gotta also take into consideration here is they both were screwed by the Democratic establishment. And right there, I think that is going to kind of bring them together.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons why I think he is going to vote for RFK. I mean, you know,
you're kind of a big deal. Yeah, you're very right. They both are old school liberals. They very much are both very old school liberals. Obviously, Bernie Sanders is like, you know, trending towards socialism and whatnot, but they both came up in that time of liberalism when it was what we all knew it to be before it became radical left and progressive, all that stuff. They both come from that same camp. They might even be around the same age. Bobby Kennedy might be a little bit older, perhaps. I'm not even sure. Or they might be the same age. So they definitely came up in the exact same time, you know?
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, remember Hillary Clinton pushed him out, right? So
yeah,
it's kind of a big deal there. I think that's one of the reasons why he's probably going to just give the middle fingers to the establishment and give RFK that vote. That's my guess. But I'm no fan of Bernie. All right, I'll tell you that. I'm no fan of him one bit.
Yeah, I'm not either. I never was, though. I never was, and it wasn't because of any reason. He just seemed off. You know,
he's a socialist. That alone is a reason.
Yeah, like like, you know, you're the one who like taught me about all that stuff. You're the one that would be like, I would be like, I don't want to hear about politics, and you'd be like, oh, it's kind of important. You want to learn about this? I can teach you conservatives, liberals, and I'd be like, okay, tell me a little something. But I don't know. I just had this weird feeling about him, and then you learn that he's socialist, and you know what socialism turns to when it goes unchecked, and it just turns all bad, you know.
Yeah, they rebranded it as a democratic socialist. There's no difference.
Yeah, exactly. Rad Paul, on the other hand, he posted this: proud to support RFK Jr. for Secretary of Health and Human Services. Finally, someone to detox the place after the Fauci era. Get ready for healthcare freedom and Maha. Amazing. Also, Rad Paul, I don't know if you know this, he is I'm pretty sure he's joining Doge. He's going to be along. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk asked him, and funny enough, this all happened via X, but I'm pretty sure that he accepted to work alongside of them at the very least, and is going to be helping them. So I know Thomas Massey is, and I'm pretty sure Rad Paul is as well.
Yeah, it looks like he's already apparently sent 2,000 pages of waste to Doge.
Yeah.
All right. He's already on board. He's already doing their work for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
He's a good one because he's been the one, you know, preaching this stuff for a while. Like, hey, we're wasting money here, wasting money there. And people always shoo him away. He's definitely more liked by the people than he is by other politicians. So yeah, he's in Doge. He's a great addition to Doge too, in my opinion.
Check this out. One of the things he's raising the alarm on is ice skating with drag queens. Would you believe it? Taxpayer money going to ice skating with drag queens. Oh, and let's not forget taxpayer funded magic. And guys, I like magic too, but I mean, not taxpayer funded magic. Okay. We don't need any of that.
Taxpayer funded magic. You know what that is? It's like some guy with like a skid full of money. He's like, here's $4 billion of tax money. Disappeared. Look at my sleeves. It's not there. It's not there. Oh, quarter behind your ear. That's what you get back. Here you go.
Just like that, folks.
That's taxpayer funded magic 100%.
Good point, Coach.
I'm going to make $2 trillion disappear. There we go. It's gone. Where is it? Try and find it. You can't find it.
That's some real magic right there.
But I have to say, it is essential that we have ice skating with drag queens. Listen. They are the bedrock of our society, okay? Everybody knows that. Everybody knows those people are the bedrock of our society. We need them in the schools. We need them ice skating, okay? Or else the fascists have won. I'm just saying, you know?
I am not partaking in any ice skating with drag queens. I'm just putting that out there. Okay, you will not see me there.
Sadly,
will not partake in that.
Sadly, I can't ice skate, or else I'd be out there. You know, I would. You know, I can't skate though. Sorry, I can't attend. But it's crazy that that's even a thing. I would love. How much money is it? Does it say how much money they put towards that?
I'm not seeing the amounts over here, but there's 2,000 pages of this, folks. That was just two little things on there. There's 2,000 pages that Rand Paul has put forth to Doge already in regards to this.
If it's more than $200, it's too much. If we're talking,
that's too much, man.
Can you imagine? They're just like 20 million. It's like, what? Where? How? What are you doing? Crazy, absolutely crazy. But yeah, again, he's definitely a part of Doge, and it's going to be amazing to see what they do. I mean, with the government shutdown, I mean, we didn't even get to talk about that. There's a little bit of it here. It's crazy what Doge has done with that bill. For anybody who doesn't know, I can just give a quick breakdown. It was a 1,547 page bill. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy sounded the alarm. The next thing you know, we had all sorts of senators. Everybody was notified. They started saying, no. You know, Vivek started outing what was actually in the bill, pay raises. They get to opt out of Obamacare while regular American citizens can't. All sorts of things. The next thing you know, the bill gets cut down to 116 pages, which just got rid of all the bloat. And then something happened where they said no to the 1,500 bill, the 116 page bill. They also said no to. A third revision happened to 118 pages, I believe. I might be wrong on that. If you could check, that'd be good. But for some reason, they voted yes on that. And there was one senator, Tom Burchett, or Congressman, sorry, Tom Burchett. He was I think his name might be Tim. Sorry about that. He was very honest. He said he voted no on it. He said because it still had multi-issues in it. And we're trying to get to a place where it's just one issue per bill. And yeah, somehow that got passed. Some people are happy about it. Some people are not. Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, what the major highlight there is that Doge has not even officially been confirmed yet, you know, and they're already having a major impact on taxpayer dollars here. And that's what we want to see. But this one over here coming up next, that's even more interesting. I think we should hit cut to that.
Yeah. This is the government shutdown. I mean, all in all, just to wrap up the RFK, it seems like he was well received. I mean, even John Fetterman popped out of his office to just make sure to shake his hand. So seems like Fetterman's on board. Seems like Sanders is on board. Rand Paul's on board. Rick Scott's on board. There's many others that he had to sit down and talk to, but he's being well received. And I believe RFK is well spoken enough and well thought out enough to convert anybody who was a non-believer in Make America Healthy Again. So I think he's one of the for sure confirmed appointees that Trump has in mind. But let's cut over to Congressman Blue Hair quickly.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, let's see this one.
We spent a lot of time, a lot of months talking to members both sides of the aisle, This is with my counterparts, Congressman Cole, Senators Murray and Collins, about what the interests of members were. We hammered out a bipartisan, bicameral agreement. In the House, we are not in the majority, so that it was the majority who had the pen, wrote the text, posted the bill, and then this is what it is. Now, all of a sudden, we have an outside influence who believes, I think he is president, and that's President Musk, who has not elected, has no authority, and trying to really upend what the services are to the American people. We spend a lot of
Just so unhinged what she's saying here, because at the end of the day, Elon Musk is just a citizen. And this is just a little bit about the government shutdown. We weren't going to talk about this, but like, let's get into it a little bit. You know, at the end of the day, he's an American citizen, right? And he saw the bill, which every American citizen should have the ability to see these bills. He spoke up about it on Twitter. He has a very far reach, but he spoke up about it a whole bunch. And everybody started jumping on board. People started actually calling Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, letting them know how they feel. They started calling their congressperson. They started calling their senators. They started making their voices heard. And that's what actually happened. But let's just say Elon Musk wasn't a part of Doge. Let's just say he was a guy. What would they have to say about that then? Because all they're doing right now is attacking someone who is in America, who will be affected by these bills, and somehow they think this is some injustice. Like, who does he think he is? He's one of the people who has to pay for this via their taxes. You know, like what if it was someone else who was just sounding the alarm on this? Would it be such a big problem? Like, this is supposed to happen. The people are supposed to see these things and be able to weigh in on it. And that's all that happened. And somehow they're all so angry about this. Like, this is not supposed to happen at all. And it just kind of speaks to the way that they're used to having things run.
Yeah, you know, one of the things I think I got to comment on, she said that he's just like a citizen and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, Trump is creating an entire department because of him. All right. Department of Government Efficiency, folks. That's what it stands for, which means that he's not going to be just a citizen. He's going to be so much more. And what she's crying about right now is she's not getting paid more money. That's what she's upset about. And as far as I'm concerned, she doesn't deserve a single penny more.
A single penny more. Apparently, people were looking into her net worth. I think it's about $14 million. Are
you serious?
Oh, yeah.
My God. And they needed a raise, right?
Well, it's that Nancy. She's probably training everybody in how to trade stocks, right? Not insider trading, because no one does that. That's you know, they don't do that. But Nancy just knows how to do it. That's all. She's probably just training everybody, you know. Something, because, you know, she's worth 14 mil now. So who knows why that is. But it's just interesting that all these people who are so up in arms about all this are already millionaires. And they keep talking about how they're just fighting for the American people, and then point at people who are billionaires and millionaires like Vivek here. And they're saying, oh, these rich people are trying to tell the American people. It's like, you're the same thing. You're the same thing. You're just not as good as Elon Musk at making money, but you're a millionaire. You're up there. You're definitely in the 1%. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why is it? It's just so much hypocrisy in what's going on. It's so much is being exposed with just Vivek and Elon Musk coming on board. It's crazy.
I think there's other points also to make over here. Like, the bill was originally 1,547 pages. All right. It got stripped down to 118 pages when it was eventually passed. Okay. Here's the thing. The swamp, if you want to call him, she's a swamp monster, 100%. Okay. She effectively is used to just being able to put forth these massive bills that nobody could actually read, but they're forced to vote on. They don't even know what they're voting in. The difference is right now is Musk is taking that liberty away from them. And I believe it's because he's probably using AI. I mean, he's got Grok on X. It's phenomenal. My guess is they took a PDF of the 1,547 page bill, threw it in AI and said, tell me what's in this bill. And it probably gave them all the answers they needed to know to say, oh, we can't pass this. Not for 1 second. Now, they've been doing this for so long. That's how Obamacare got passed. They made this massive bill. They put it forth and said, hey, let's vote on it without knowing anything about it. She's mad because this whole system that used to be going and working its magic in whatever way, it's all over now, folks. It's over. All right. Doge is here and they're going to help clean the swamp. And that's what these people are pissed off about. And that's something Americans should be celebrating for.
Yeah, definitely. I said it before. I did a video about the government shutdown, as you know, and I said it before, you have the same access that Elon Musk does. I don't know what AI he's using, but for regular people out there, if you have ChatGPT, it has a data analyst option. You can upload a PDF. You can get a bill. If you can find a bill, you can get a PDF of it, upload it, and say how much money is being sent to other nations in the information I just provided you. And it will show you. You can say how much money is going towards DEI programming or anything that has to do with diversity. And it will show you. Like, you can do that exact same thing and just ask question after question about this information. I've done it with lease agreements. I've had lease agreements in the past where I say, I literally say it like this. This is a little tutorial. I say, you are a lawyer with 20 years experience in tenant, landlord law. And you know exactly, like, about this area, this state, you're specialized in this state. And then I say, now tell me everything that breaks a law, period. And it'll just go through everything. I'll say, tell me the pros and cons of this agreement. It'll show me everything. Like, you can just do that, And again,
you know what Grok is doing now? You could even post things like your ultrasounds, blood work, things like that to it. And it will actually tell you and give you whatever information you need from your blood work and ultrasounds and other tests that you have. So if you need any, you don't want to pay for a doctor. Yeah. You don't want to pay for a doctor, upload that to Grok. I'm not sure if ChatGPT is there yet, but Grok is doing that right now. Yeah. Elon mentioned that on his Twitter post.
Really? I'm going to look that up because I have like a whole, you already know, I did my whole like hormone panel and like gut biome and stuff like that. I would love to see what it has to say about it all.
Throw it up there. Find out.
Yeah. I'm going to check that out. But I know what this is leading to, okay? Because I'm wearing a tinfoil Speedo. Elon wants us to upload our DNA. You're not getting my DNA, Elon. I'm telling you right now. You're not getting my DNA. You're not getting access to my skull, okay? I know that's what it's all working towards. You're not putting chips in my wrists, sir. I'm just putting it out there, okay?
I second that.
Yeah. So this is just Vivek. Do I even have to play this? This is Vivek. You know what? Yeah, well, let's play it.
Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money, but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you. It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job. The reason I'm co-heading Doge is I think we need outsiders to bring actual accountability to Washington, D.C. So feel free to call your congressman and let him know how you feel about it.
Yeah, so that's where it all started. He read the whole thing himself and probably used AI, like you said, and then figured out how bad it all was, and that was it. That started the whole snowball effect. First time him and Elon actually killing a bill. And just to throw something in before we move on, they only gave them 24 hours to read those 1,500 pages. Less than 24 hours to read the 1,500 pages and vote on it. So that's
the norm.
Thing. Yeah,
that's how they've been running the show for who knows how long, right?
Yeah.
They bury whatever they want in those bills and they make people vote on it. They have no clue what's in it. They'll tell you they have no clue what's on it, but they vote for it anyways. And they try to vote along party lines. That right there, folks, is the swamp. Okay. That's a swamp monster in itself. This is why Doge matters. This is why they are so angry at Musk right now. And you know what? If I was going to get a 40% pay increase and Elon Musk went ahead and ruined it for me all in a matter of 24 hours, I'd probably be a little bit pissed off too. So can't really blame him. But hey, American taxpayers deserve better. Under a Trump presidency, they're going to get better. Just wait and see.
Yeah. Actually, Lindsey Graham, when it came to the Restrict Act, Jesse Waters actually caught Lindsey Graham not knowing what was in a bill that he co-sponsored, which was really funny because he's like, this is in it. He's like, Senator, he's like, this is garbage. He's like, this is a terrible bill. And he's telling him what's in it. And Lindsey goes, oh, is that in there? He goes, oh, well, I'll have to get back to you. I'll have to see. He's it was crazy. He just didn't know what was in the bill. It was very, very on par for Lindsey Graham, but all in as a whole, very sad to see.
I'd bet you he voted yes on it and didn't even go read that.
He did.
Oh, he did. Yeah. There you go.
He co-sponsored it.
There you go. Good point. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait, man. Trump is about to take over Canada. I hope you guys are ready. He says no one can answer why we subsidize Canada to the tune of $100 billion a year. I had no idea. Or is that 100 million? Sorry, $100 million a year. Makes no sense. Many Canadians want Canada to become the 51st state. just imagining Trump saying that is hilarious. They would save massively on taxes and military protection. I think it is a great idea. 51st states. Very interesting that Trump is really pushing this. I think all in all, he's just trolling. He's a world leader. He's looking after America. I don't think he's actually trying to absorb Canada or anything like that. But I've said it before. If I was the leader of Canada, first trip straight to the White House. How do we make this thing happen? We're coming together again. Your brothers from the North are here. We're coming together again. That would be my first stop. That's it. 100%.
So here's the thing. There's no way Trump actually wants a country that has voted for Justin Trudeau not once, not twice. What is it? 3 times in total. He does not want those voters coming and being part of the American electoral vote. No chance. So
that's hilarious.
He's just trolling them, and rightfully so. I'm here for it. I'm loving it. I think he should just keep doing it. He's single-handedly bringing down the Canadian government right now as we're speaking.
That's hilarious that you say that. That's a very good point. Very, very good point. He's like, what do I want these communists for?
Exactly.
And obviously I'm kidding. There's a lot of people who are very much patriotic in Canada, and they don't like what's going on, and they haven't liked what's going on. And it's been bearing down on them just as hard as Biden and Harris have been bearing down on working class people as well. And it's getting real rough. Nobody knows if they can buy a home. Like this is North America wide. Nobody knows if they'll be able to buy a home. People who are in their 30s have given up hope on that idea altogether. That's going on everywhere, man. Like all the way from Texas, all the way up to, Thunder Bay, Ontario. People are just letting go of that idea. It's rough, but there are some people I have said, I've gotten into arguments on Twitter. I think if you gave every province an option, I think Alberta would be like, I think we're going to go over to America. I think we're just going to become America. I think they might. I think Saskatchewan might be like, let us think about it a little bit, I think so. I think you get those two for sure.
I think most of Canada would roll out the red carpet for them. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh man, could you imagine they combined, okay? But then they take the not the electoral system, but the ability to have consecutive terms. And then all of a sudden it's Trump 2028. Ooh.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, though. I mean, we would be absorbed by them and versus the alternative, right?
It's true. You need that constitution. That's how it would be, obviously. But funny enough, Pierre Poilievre, I don't know. I always butcher that name. But he's the guy who people say is going to become prime minister, conservative guy. He actually came out, Trump is trolling. He came out and said Canada will never become the 51st state of America. So that's how deep Trump's trolling has gotten. It's actually penetrated the conversation in politics in Canada. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Trudeau's deputy prime minister actually just stepped down. There's a whole scandal there. His what is it? NDP party, Jagmeet Singh, is going ahead and saying that Trudeau must step down. So it sounds like the Canadian government that's been in power for about 9 years and 47 days is essentially about to fall apart. And I think a lot of that is due to President Trump right there.
She was supposed to present some fiscal report, steps down, throws it to some other dude. He's supposed to present it. As soon as he gets presented from the job, he steps down. Wow. That's what happened. And you know why? Because it's probably a terrible fiscal report. It's probably insanely bad. And none of them want to be left holding the bag, honestly. And she'll be just fine, that woman that stepped away. She's been in the background of Trudeau for a long time. I've looked into her. She's actually a part of the Bilderberg Group and the World Economic Forum. Two very shadowy figures in politics. And she's a part of them both, which is very
she's a Nazi.
You can't say that. Jeez.
No, but she is. Her grandfather was a Nazi. I'm not just saying it. This is a fact. Coach, come on. Get with it.
Who gave this guy a tinfoil Speedo? Jeez.
It's not tinfoil. It's confirmed. Her grandfather was... Whatever. All right, Coach.
Oh, my God. Oh, I knew I would rub off on you. I didn't think it'd be this quick. This is crazy. This is episode 2. I thought it would be at least till episode 50. You be calling politicians Nazis.
But I'm not just saying it. It's been
no.
Reports, like I wouldn't just. I'm not listening to that run around saying someone's racist or Nazi, because I want the viewers to know this. I'm not sitting here trying to silence someone. If you actually look into her background, it's pretty much confirmed her grandfather was a Nazi, and
there's connections. Klaus Schwab's dad, her grandparents. There's a bunch of odd connections, but let's move on. What do we have here? What is this part? I think I just want to get right into. We were supposed to wrap it up with the Germany attack. I don't know what this stuff is here. This is just some other stuff that I had laying around. Let's move on to that attack. Absolutely crazy. So Germany Christmas market attack. Scholz condemns terrible, insane act as 5 people pass away and hundreds are injured. Yeah. Saturday developments. This is crazy. I think I have a clip here, a YouTube clip that I'm going to play. I'm trying to share the screen. The screen share keeps getting in the way. I'm telling you, guys, I'm on Zoom here. This is annoying me. This is crazy. I'm not actually going to play the actual attack, but let's just listen to this quickly.
And we begin with a holiday horror overseas, a car plowing into crowds of people at a Christmas market in northeastern Germany, killing at least 2 people, injuring more than 60 others. Officials suspect it was a deliberate attack, and they are treating the incident as terrorism. A massive response from police, emergency workers, and ambulances. The car driving at a high rate of speed, mowing people down. In the chaotic aftermath, a handful of visitors and vendors stunned and shaken, and heavily armed officers on patrol. A fleet of ambulances arriving to tend to the injured, dozens carried off to hospitals. Local officials say a young child and adult were killed in the attack. Hours later, the Christmas market shut down, everyone gone. A lone police officer seen here surveying the scene. New images of the suspect now in custody, being led away by police. He's reportedly a 50-year-old doctor from Saudi Arabia who had lived in Germany for 18 years. But tonight, authorities say a motive is unknown. ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, leads us off in London tonight.
Tonight, terror at this Christmas market. Horrific scenes as a festive celebration in Magdeburg, Germany ends in carnage. This is the moment a car's...
So I don't want to play the actual, any footage of it actually happening. Just crazy, man. I can't believe that. I didn't know much about it. I saw that you were sending me some information on it. I didn't get to look into it too deeply. But I have heard through the pipeline, there are people here and there that are speculating that it was an attack because these people were Christian. Obviously, the news is saying that they don't know the actual motive, if this guy was just crazy, whatever, what have you. I mean, around the world, both things happen. People are crazy and do crazy things. People do persecute people because of their religions. We all know that. So when I see this whole thing, it's crazy. It's crazy that this happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is my take here. Okay. For one, there's no doubt that this is not an attack on Christianity. It's 100% an attack on Christianity. And you know what? People need to start doing something about it because this needs to stop. Now, there's other reports also that the German police were actually, about a year ago, were warned about this guy.
Okay. Yeah, I did hear about that. Apparently, they were writing into some, I don't know if the police have an app or something like that, but I saw something written where somebody was trying to warn. Now, the thing about that is when I saw that, I couldn't actually verify that it was real. When it comes to a lot of stuff, some people put up things that aren't real, and sometimes they do put up things that are real. So I wasn't 100% sure, but I did hear that there was some kind of warning about a year ago where they were like, you really need to look into this guy. And there was a bunch of messages on an app, and it was like a text thread of some kind, and they never responded. And then, this happens just, like a year later. So it's very interesting. And honestly, in regards to this whole thing, I could believe that. Now, this same, not really the same, but things like that have happened in America where somebody is a repeat offender. I believe Laken Riley, who passed away at the hands of an illegal immigrant who's someone who's in the country illegally. I believe he was a repeat offender, and he was only let out of the jail because of overcrowding or something like that. So they lessened his sentence a little bit. So I could believe it. That something like this could happen. A lot of these people, a lot of dangerous people go not watched, not looked into.
Yeah, so I mean, to comment on what you're saying there, so I always try to do my due diligence on it when I'm looking through facts.
Yeah, of course.
I'm a community notes member, and when digging through the community notes themselves, you could actually see that there is a post over here that actually is showing it an email directed to the berlinpolice.net, and it includes the name. So it does seem to be verified. Of course, I can't independently verify it myself. I don't have the resources to do that over here, but it does look to be true. And, there's another point also. It seems like about a week ago or so, there was an elderly lady who was being trolled by the police, the German police, for carrying a Swift Army knife. All right. Like one of those like Swiss Army knife kind of things,
Yeah.
And they were harassing her for it as if she was doing something, crazy. And yet here they are completely ignoring this unbelievable, whatever this is. It's a threat. That's what it is. It's a known threat, but they're too busy going after little old ladies instead of dealing with the threats. I don't get it.
I think they are. This is 22 hours ago, this report that we were just listening to, but I think they have designated it some kind of terror. So I don't know, because even this video here, it has the note below. It says market attack suspect was a critic of Islam. So right away, they're trying to veer him away from being against Christianity because he was Islamic. But here's the thing. They tried to do that with Trump's first assassin when they tried to say that he donated $5 or that he was a registered Republican. They tried to kind of throw that. So they said, oh, this is not political. This is just because Trump's a bad guy. This guy was a Republican that came after Trump. So I've seen this before, but I will just say for anybody that's watching, just to, for the sake of being completely transparent, they are saying that this gentleman was a critic of Islam. Now, could you be a critic of both? You know what I mean? Could you be a critic of both? You probably could be a critic of both, but they're making sure to put it in the I don't even know what you call this. It's like a note below just saying that he was a critic of Islam, which is very interesting. Like,
you can be a critic of Islam and still commit a terrorist attack against Christians.
Yes.
That's one thing. And two, at the same time over here, I watched that video. It was tough to watch. The car was sped up apparently in some of the videos. I should mention that if you are watching it yourself, be aware of that. But the speed in which it did come in, it looked like there was intent there. It did.
Enough to injure people, I guess. I mean,
Well, these are
yeah,
markets. They're usually closed off, right? Like
yeah,
this type
yeah,
of thing would have barriers, people closed off. Like you wouldn't just have a car that's just like happens to be, they're driving like they're driving on a regular street. Like, come on.
yeah, yeah. It's very, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't even know what to say about it because it's such an odd occurrence, and it's just, what was this guy doing? Do we know anything about this guy? Do they even know anything about this guy at all? Like they just said he's a doctor from Saudi Arabia.
That's pretty much about it. I mean, I wouldn't
Wow.
be surprised if they're busy trying to scrub everything that he's got. I mean, they do this in the
Well,
UK,
do
right?
you have, can you type in just the attacker, just who he was, see if anything has developed? Because like I said, this report here is 22 hours old. Like they didn't even have the right amount of people that passed away. It's developed now. They're starting to say it's actually 5 people that passed away and actually a few hundred or maybe a couple hundred that were injured. So maybe it's developed a little more since it's all happened. But yeah, it's a sad thing. Let me see if this article says anything as well. 5 people, child, more than 200 people injured, 40 in critical condition. Arrested a 50-year-old doctor who they believe is responsible for the attack, according to German police. Premier, state police. Okay, Saudi Arabia. Let's show more here. The chancellor described as a terrible, insane act. So not a terror act. They haven't deemed it that. Unimaginable incident. A woman in her 50s, bad bruise on the right eye, told tabloids she and her husband were flung in the air. It's crazy. Mourners lit candles. So yeah, it doesn't seem like they have a lot on anything. Saudi source told that Saudi Arabia had warned German authorities about the attacker. He posted extreme views on a personal X account that threatened peace and security. Reported that the suspect had sympathized with AFD. The magazine did not say where it got the information, so it's like not fully verified. I don't know, man. This is really, really weird. Did you see anything on your side of things?
Yeah, well, Musk actually tweeted something out. Someone by this name, Salman Al Ansari.
Okay.
And supposedly this man was accused of rape and other implications of serious crimes in Saudi Arabia. And apparently there was a request for his extradition to Saudi Arabia. However, Germany denied it.
Wow.
They did so apparently on human rights concerns, which I can get that too as well. However, the seriousness of these crimes alone should have, in my opinion, had this person on a watch list regardless.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to touch on this anymore. Usually, my philosophy. I like to wait so we have like a more cohesive story. I don't like just being first. I like having the most information. So right now, we just don't have anything on this guy really, but absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible what has happened here. And yeah, we'll see if it's confirmed. I mean, no manifesto, Luigi Mangione was nice enough to carry his manifesto on him along with his murder weapon when he got arrested for that CEO assassination that he did. But hopefully this guy has a manifesto too that was just in the passenger seat or something like that. I don't know. It's very, very crazy.
Yeah, it's tragic. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I always like to wrap it up on a bright note, It's very, very nice. Very nice of you. You're the one that brought this story up.
Yeah, I know what's coming right now.
No, well, you don't know what's coming. I'm just looking around, I'm just looking around.
No, I know what's coming.
I got nothing to. Elon Musk did just post something. Whoa. Front runner slams. Wow. Elon Musk says traditional political parties in Germany have utterly failed the people.
Yeah.
AFD is the only hope for Germany. Huh. What is AFD?
I'm not sure what party it is, but anything that doesn't have what Angela Merkel, I think will be fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Here you go. Let's just wrap it up on this bright note here. Biden authorizes $570 million in military aid to Taiwan. There you go. You know, because if you have World War III, you want China and Taiwan involved in it as well. You know, what's a world war without China and Taiwan involved? You can't just have Russia and Ukraine and in America. You got to get everybody involved. It's a family affair when we do a world war here. Biden's just trying to kick off Trump's presidency the right way here. There you go. Great.
You know, this actually leads into my channel perfectly. You should go check out the video I posted. All right. We're talking about drones over there on Hank Unfiltered. We're talking about the possibility. Is this China? And I mean, I didn't know about this actually. You completely surprised me here, Coach. And I got to say, if he is giving Taiwan $571 million in military aid, maybe these drones actually are China. I mean,
who knows?
It would make sense, right? I mean, why not aid them militarily? Usually the United States is kind of a little bit cautious about aiding them militarily. You know, there's always that, you know, trying to appease China while also at the same time, you know, help out Taiwan at the same time. So I think if they're doing this, it may actually further prove what I've been saying over on my channel to be correct. I think China's behind this. And I think this is part of the larger piece of puzzles put together over here.
One thing you're going to know for sure, that if they are involved, you're going to find out the second Trump steps into office, because Trump's going to let you know. Trump's going to be like, guys, everyone in New Jersey, inside your houses, it's about to be raining drones. It's going to be raining drones. We're going to rain down so many drones, you guys. Stay inside your houses. I'm shooting them down. We're shooting them down. He's just start going like this. YMCA comes on.
Love the dance.
Oh man, but yeah, let's do this again next week. We're gonna figure out some stories. Actually, comment in the comment section if there's a story that you're looking to hear about a little more extensively. We can cover that, but we're gonna be bringing you the top stories that have been going on. We'll be doing that next week. Let me just throw this up one more time. Hank Unfiltered there. Has that new video come out yet or what?
I will be posting it the same time I post your video over here. So they'll go up. Make sure when you're done checking this video to go to my channel and check it out. It's kind of an important one. I kind of pieced all of the pieces, the puzzle together over there. We got, apparently there's reports right now that China's been listening to President Trump's phone. And there's a little bit more to do with that as well. So I think it's a pretty interesting video, and hope to see you over there on my channel.
I would be listening to Trump's phone calls if I could. You know how unfiltered and crazy they must be?
Only the best conversations.
I met with Biden. It was crazy. He had no shirt on. He didn't know where he was. Secret Service is trying to put clothes on him. He won't put the clothes on. He's like a toddler. He's just rolling around on the ground. I don't know what's going on. He wrecked Abe Lincoln's room. I don't know why they let him inside Abe Lincoln's room.
I don't know why they let him anywhere in the White House, to be honest with you.
Kamala is just on the ground drunk. I don't know how she got so drunk. I mean, she's a little woman, but somehow drinks 4 bottles of vodka. I was impressed. You wouldn't believe it how many vodka bottles I saw. She offered me a shot. I said, no, I don't drink. And then she swung at me. Secret Service had to put her down. It was crazy. They had to put her in a headlock.
Did you see that video that Kamala put out there?
No, why?
Oh, she was so drunk. Everyone's got to go watch that one. She was gone. She was liquored up. She was on something, you know.
God, that's funny. That's funny. I wonder. I wonder sometimes. She's probably.
I'm not wondering.
She's probably a great time. She's probably a great time.
Oh, a great time, yeah.
You know what I mean? She probably has all sorts of secrets like that you wouldn't even fathom. You know what I mean? Like just crazy things she's probably seen over time, you know? Like when you're a side chick, you see crazy things, you know? It's true. Like you're Willie Brown. Willie Brown was probably showing her wild stuff. And she's just like, okay, I'm just a young girl hanging out. Okay. I won't say anything. You know, she's probably seen some stuff.
Well, I mean, she dated Montel Williams, so I'm sure she's seen a whole lot more than just some stuff. She was probably part of it too. I mean, so yeah.
Oh man. All right, let's wrap it up. We're going too far here. Take off the tinfoil Speedo. Let's put on some slacks like gentlemen. End this episode off right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like the episode, subscribe, go check out Hank's channel. It's on the screen right there. That's the name of it. And turn on the notifications. Helps the channel tremendously. Other than that, I am out.